Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7 o'clock, October 23rd.
22nd.
It says 23rd right on my typo. Look at that.
It does.
It does. Green sent that out.
Look, it says right on the paper.
Yeah, and then down here it says October 23rd.
Nice.
Yep, it does.
Let's just do this in the camera, thank you.
Okay, we'll do away with that.
Mine says the 22nd.
Mine too.
Maybe
Organizational.
I might have opened
This is
the
the
door.
organizational one.
Okay.
There's the right one. I had the wrong one open a year ago. Okay, Green did everything right. Okay, I'd like to call the meeting to order. First, adoption of agenda.
I'll move.
Councillor Schlossberger. All in favor? Carried. And immediately go into official oath. Karen. Stand up.
Yes, sir.
You
All
got
right,
it.
raise your right hand, repeat after me. I, Mike Cutler,
I, Mike Cutler,
swear
swear
that I will diligently,
that I will diligently,
faithfully,
faithfully,
and to the best of my ability,
and to the best of my ability,
execute according to law
execute according to law
the office of counselor
the office of counselor
for the town of Claresholm.
for the town of Claresholm.
So help me God.
So help me God.
You're done.
Thank
That's
you.
official.
Awesome.
I'll seal it.
You
Perfect.
sign-
Thank
you
you.
have to
Thanks,
sign the
Karen.
oath.
You bet.
What's that?
You have to sign the oath too.
That's next.
This, I'm so sorry.
That's
Code
okay.
of conduct? Oh, it's not sworn.
Wait, there's more.
No, that's not for Karen to have him swear to.
No,
I
just-
thought while he's
that's
signing,
Well, he's signing.
you sign that. You're agreeing to the terms.
I'm green to the terms?
Yeah.
Yes, I've read this.
It was on the agenda. I'm just gonna give that to Marianne.
Okay.
See you, girl. See you guys.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you. Thanks, Karen.
Sorry, guys.
Thank you. Okay, I'd just like to slip in here before we go to returning officers report. In your agendas coming up, there is a letter of resignation from Sharon Galbraith from the MPC. Sharon's been a member of the MPC for many, many years. And I would just like to take this moment to say thank you for all the years of service for Claresholm, and we appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Returning officer, Green.
So it's just in your package there, it just gives you an idea of the turnout that we had. We had 771 votes that were cast at the by-election. We did have 2 votes that were actually rejected, just they were, you can't technically call them spoiled, but the way they were marked, they were rejected. And then we did have 2 spoiled ballots. But we were pretty happy. We had a 26% voter turnout for the by-election, which was about half of what we had the election last year. We had 51%. But this has been presented to Municipal Affairs, so let's just let you know that it is official and they're aware of it. So he is officially a councillor.
Thanks, Karen.
Thanks.
Okay, then we slip into committees, and there's a couple of things on here. Let me get these sorted out. That I'm going to change from when I figured this out. First off, I'd like to know, Elise, the Claresholm Housing Authority meets on Mondays, correct?
Yes.
So there was a conflict in here, it said it met on Wednesdays, so I was going to take, on the Willow Creek Ag Society, I was gonna take Brad off of there and put Mike on there,
Nice.
but then I thought there was a conflict because they both showed Wednesday night, so we will make that change. and put Mike on there,
Okay.
On the Ag Society?
on the Ag Society, yeah.
And sorry, the Housing Authority, you said is Mondays?
Monday,
Third Monday
Yeah.
of the month
Third
now.
Monday. That's maybe something, because we did check all these last year, so.
yeah, they must have changed in this term,
Yeah.
Could be. It's hard to
Well,
say.
we can do it for a while, it feels.
well, that'd
I
be
don't
this,
recall.
this term, so. And then there was another one, recreation, arena and ball diamonds. I had put Mike on there, but, I'm gonna move Craig back. Recreation Facility Users Committee. I put Mike on there, but I'm gonna move Craig back on there. He's got some ongoing stuff, he'd like to stay on that committee, so. Everything else is as presented to you guys. We don't need a motion to accept that, do we? Okay, somebody like to make a motion to accept the new committee schedule?
I'd like to make that motion.
Nice,
first one.
attaboy. Yeah.
We'll even make it officious, how about, question?
So, moved by Councillor Cutler that the proposed committee organization and structure be accepted as amended.
All in favor? Carried.
Mayor, just procedurally, we do need a motion accepting the returning officer's
Oh, we
report
do?
as well, please.
Okay.
We'll back up. If somebody would like to make a motion to accept the returning officer's report,
I can make that motion, or at least.
Lee speech you. Councillor Schultz? All in favor? Carried. Meeting dates. It's on in your handout. It's really nothing to discuss there. It's the same way we've always done it. Any questions? Do we need a motion for that? Somebody like to make a motion for that, for the meeting dates for the next year?
I'll make the motion.
Councillor Moore, all in favor? Carried. The appointment of deputy mayors, that schedule is also there. And we will be, at the end of this month, going to Councillor Schlossberger. We don't need a motion for this, so, because that schedule I thought was accepted a year ago.
But it's
But
amended
it
now.
amended
Oh, it's
on the
amended
second,
because
yeah.
of Mike.
Oh, Mike.
You did. Okay, if somebody would like to make a motion?
Oh.
Councillor Harrelson. All in favor? Carried. Motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion as well.
We are adjourned. Okay, we'll move into regular meeting. If somebody would move to adopt the agenda.
I'll adopt it.
Councillor Schultz, all in favor? Carried. Minutes, regular meeting October 9th. Any questions, Craig?
No, everything looked to be well done there. I'll make a motion to adopt the minutes as presented.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, we're right into number 1. Cannabis consumption bylaw, second and third reading. Marion, do you have any overview you want to throw in there before we?
Sure, so we have 3 bylaws presented tonight for second and third reading, the cannabis consumption bylaw, the smoking bylaw, and the community standards bylaw. Those bylaws have been amended as per the resolution of council at the previous council meeting. All 3 of those bylaws received first reading on October 9th. The amendments that were made were the cannabis consumption bylaw. We removed section 4.1 and 4.2. And section 4, nuisance consumption, which reference criteria for the respectful consumption of cannabis on property of individual properties, has been removed as well. And then also the violation fine that was attached to that section of the bylaw was removed. And in the community standards bylaw, we removed the definition of telecommunication.
Okay. Somebody would like to, we'll start with bylaw 1654. If somebody would like to do second reading. Councillor Cutler. Question?
Moved by Councillor Cutler to give bylaw number 1654, the cannabis consumption bylaw, second reading.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. If somebody would like to give third reading to bylaw 1654,
I'll make that motion.
Councillor Schlossberger. Question?
Moved by Councillor Schlossberger to give bylaw number 1654, the cannabis consumption bylaw, third and final reading.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, we'll move on to bylaw 1655.
I'll move to give bylaw 1655, the smoking bylaw, a second reading.
Question?
Moved by Councillor Zimmer to give bylaw number 1655, the smoking bylaw, second reading.
All in favor? Carried. Somebody like to do third reading?
And I'll do third reading of the smoking.
Councillor Schultz. Question?
Moved by Councillor Schultz to give bylaw number 1655, the smoking bylaw, third and final reading.
All in favor? Carried. And finally, bylaw 1656, community standards. Somebody like to give second reading?
I move that we give second reading.
Councillor Moore. Question?
Moved by Councillor Moore to give bylaw number 1656, the community standards bylaw, second reading.
All in favor? Carried. And somebody like to do third reading?
I'll do third.
Councillor Carlson. Question?
Moved by Councillor Carlson to give bylaw number 1656, the community standards bylaw, third and final reading.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, number 4, delegation response, Claire's Home Skate Park Association. There was some information, Councillor Carlson wanted to bring forward on that.
Since they had first come with this information, the Feast of Claire's Home donated the $1,300 to them.
Oh, nice.
So that brings them a little closer to their target. So I was thinking we could do half the 2,000 that they originally dealt with. That gives them a little bit of a buffer, but it still gets them over their ask to begin with.
Is that a motion?
That would be a motion if we're good with that.
So is that they were asking for two?
They were asking for
So
two, but
They got 1,300, so
they
we'll
got
just
13. So.
chip in $1,000 and give them a buffer.
Kevin, you're on that committee? You got any- Oh,
kinda.
Brad, you're on the committee. Anything to pitch in there?
Just that they work very hard at raising money, like, and the board works very well. It's well ran. Everything's cool, so. Yep, and I'm glad, happy with $1,000.
That still gets them where they need to be though.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We're at 50.
Yeah, 'cause they need to.
Okay, so we have a motion. Could we, get a motion back, please?
Moved by Councillor Carlson to grant the Claire's Home Skate Park Association $1,000 towards creating a design concept plan for the new skate park.
All in favor? Carried.
Nice.
Correspondence, Roland House Society, Family Violence Prevention Month. I would say we just take this for information. Everybody okay with that? Okay. Correspondence, Old Man Watershed Council, request for support. Now, we did not give them
Anything.
anything last year, correct?
Yeah, we did.
13.
You gotta look. It was,
2016, we gave them some,
Yeah.
not 2017, I thought.
No.
16 and 18, there was no, and 17, yes.
Yeah, it says it here. It says in 2016 he provided, but I'm almost sure, if I remember right, it was Councillor Courage that made the motion to donate to the Old Man Watershed late last year.
It would have been at the start of the year, same time as now.
It would have, similar time of the year is when they make the request every year, so that's why we haven't done any donation for 2018 yet.
Oh,
So it was
Since it's just
17
before the-
that we spoke to, and that was $1,323 that we gave.
Okay, but the letter says in 2016.
I believe we budgeted for the donation because there had been a donation for membership, I guess, in 2017. So we did budget the 1,323, but they are requesting more than that this year. 45 cents per resident is using the municipal affairs population of 3,780. They're requesting $1,701.
Any comments on this stuff?
I think it's important.
Yeah, I do too.
It's that intermunicipal collaboration thing where we all pitch in for the benefit of everybody.
Yeah.
Is anybody willing to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to, I know it's not donate, it's not the word I'm looking for. Contribute the $1,701 to the Old Man Watershed.
Is that what we were budgeted for?
We would have budgeted for the 1,300, so it's just
1,300
slightly
or
above.
Yeah.
Breakdown, not a lot of money. Okay, any other comments, questions on it? Question, please.
Moved by Councillor Zimmer to support the Old Men Watershed Council with a donation of $1,701 to continue their efforts towards watershed health in our region.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Willow Creek Continuing Care Center, 30-year anniversary, November 22nd, 2018.
30 years.
Hey?
Hard to
Yeah.
believe, huh?
Amazing.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Hard
It's
to
been there.
believe.
30 years?
88.
I couldn't believe that. Wow.
It was there when I moved here 35 years ago. I worked there 35 years ago.
No, they had the old one.
Oh, they're talking about the new
The
building.
new building
Yeah, because
itself,
I
yeah.
worked on the old
The
ranch.
old one, yeah. The new
Yeah.
one has been built since 88.
Okay, that
I
makes
think
sense.
that's great. It employs a lot of people. 150
And they are
people.
asking
Wow.
for,
You to go hang out and have some coffee and cake.
and November 22nd, if my cards play correctly, I will not be in town. So would somebody, would the deputy mayor be willing to step in?
Sure.
Nice.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
if we could send them a letter saying that the deputy mayor will attend,
Sure.
that'd be great.
Deputy mayor. Sounds cool, hey?
Deputy dog.
Deputy Doc. Say
I
that.
beat you to it. I beat you both. Okay, number 8, correspondence, Claresholm District Health Foundation, the 12th Annual Gala. We've donated to this in the past, have we?
Yes, we have donated since 2007, $500 per year. In 2013, there was a donation of $800, but every other year it's been $500.
Comments?
I move that we continue to support it. I think it's wonderful, wonderful organization, what they put on, the efforts they go to, and what's provided to our community for it. Holy smokes.
Yeah. I agree, totally.
You gotta agree with that. You got something, Mary?
I was just gonna say, last year, if you recall, council and their spouses or guests attended as well as a group. We all paid for our own tickets, but that was another way we supported it personally as a group.
I would like to do that again.
Well, first, let's deal with the
Okay.
donation.
Yeah, yeah, let's deal
If
with the
somebody would be
donation
willing
first,
to
please.
make that motion.
I'll make that motion.
Green saying she already did.
Lisa already did.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
I didn't even hear it.
She did.
Okay, question?
Moved by Councillor Schultz to support the Clarissaman District Health Foundation's 12th Annual Gala to be held November 24th, 2018 in the amount of $500.
All in favor? Carried. And as far as the attending the gala, on the 24th, if you guys would talk to your significant others and get back to Corrine on that, and then we'll come to consensus, and if we can buy a table, we'll do that. I, again, may be away if my cards play right, so. But we don't need a motion for that, so,
No.
just information.
Okay.
Request for decision, tender for the golf course Frog Creek drainage upgrade. I think Marion's got a presentation. I went over to the golf course and with the engineers today and did an inspection of it. And it's cleaning up the drainage ditch and changing one of the weirs, lowering another one. All the way from one end virtually to the other. It's mainly a cleanup process. Marion, you must have more information to share.
Sure. In 2014, we completed the stormwater management plan, master plan. Part of that was to build the structure that we now have on the south end of town and 8th Street. As well, we had some upgrades. The phase 2 of that would have been upgrades to Centennial Park and the golf course drainage corridor, as the mayor's explained. We did make an application to the Alberta Community Resilience Program for phase 2. We were unsuccessful in that, but we did have funds left over from that grant from phase 1 that we can do a portion of the work with Centennial and the golf course. So as we work upstream, it makes sense to upgrade the golf course and then go on to Centennial Park. So we did receive approval from the ACRP grant office to include this as part of that first phase under the funding structure. So we did, because we're on a tight turnaround time here, we had Whistle and Bosscapes were both contractors that did work on our phase 1. And so we tendered to them to do a scope change on their projects. And both of those came in, it was by invitation only for those tenders. As you can see from the paperwork here, their price was only $432 difference. So, you know, it was a good tender. So we are recommending that we proceed with the tender from Bosscapes in the amount of $401,611.98. The reason it is before council is, although it's included in the budget, our purchasing and tendering policy required that any tender over $200,000 be approved by council. That I don't have the authority to do that on my own. As the mayor said, the project, there was some concerns, and that's why we went on site today with the golf course personnel and one of their board members. There's some stakes out there, and you may hear from golfers or members of the community that they're concerned about what the change will be to the golf course if the ditch is graded at where those stakes are. And what was determined today when we met on site with the engineers is that they'll be able to use the existing channel and sort of shift those stakes around as they go, and they don't intend to disturb the playability of the golf course at all. One of the other things that they said to us today was prior to the contractor coming on site, that they would have a startup meeting on site and they would actually walk the ditch, the drainage corridor with the golf course personnel as well as the contractor and the engineer, and just ensure that everybody's on side with the change there. Basically what they're doing is a 5-to-1 slope. It's going to come down to a bench and then it'll drop down into a channel. So the small channel in the bottom will be a little bit deeper, and that'll take the everyday sort of water flow, and then the rest of it is designed so that it can be very easily maintained, but it will manage the excess water in the event of a flood.
You are going to hear
Excellent, thank you.
comments, so be prepared. That's why I went and inspected the golf course, because I was literally flooded with comments from golfers. And it's going to actually improve the look of the golf course a lot. The current drainage ditch is overgrown.
Yeah.
So the vegetation plugs it off by itself. So this will clean that up. The bottom of the drainage trough will be a fiberglass, fiber mat covered with 6-inch gravel, 6-inch rock
To
to keep it from deteriorating and
keep the weeds over.
minimize the weeds until it silts in. So it'll have to be
Yeah.
flushed every so often. So it's quite an improvement.
Excellent.
And from having the president of the board there and the pro and the head groundskeeper, all three were fine with it. So
Excellent.
Perfect.
Thanks.
Thank you for doing that.
So off the 5 to 1, and then it benches down into a channel.
it
What's
does
the
it
point of a
twice.
channel?
It's call it 5 to 1.
Yeah,
It flattens out
yeah,
a little bit and then drops into this.
yeah. What's
The basic water is always going to be in here. This is for in case it overflows. Extra capacity for when the heavy flows are. And this is easy to maintain now. We can cut the weeds down.
right? I don't
Manually.
understand what the purpose of this is. Like, why not just bring it all down, leave it flat, and let the water flow?
It's so as they can maintain it from erosion and stuff by putting that mat in there.
Oh, okay.
And then
the
putting,
erosion fabric will go down on the,
yeah,
on the sides.
it'll roll
Oh,
like this
okay.
down there,
then
and there'll be a
support
thick
it.
mat
Yeah.
there of it.
The
Oh,
bottom
and then
of
it comes back up.
Yeah.
Okay.
The bottom
just
of
seemed
the
like-
channel will just have rock. It
6
won't-
inch.
It won't have the mat
No, I asked him that, he said the mat will be under the rock.
underneath the rocks.
Okay. It just seemed like a little bit extra work, but
No, it's
I
just,
didn't realize that the erosion.
yeah,
Yep.
because right now what happens is that when that, if you can remember back when that ditch was dug, it was a nice square, just a bucket width. Well, now it's all
Washed.
silted out.
Silt.
It's just a washed area,
Eroded.
full of weeds.
So how do you clean that once it becomes filled with silt?
You could go down and power wash it out. I mean, that's something for the future. Right now, it would be easily cleaned though. Pressure wash it out if it became an issue. But for now, at least, it's gonna stop all the weeds, because right now the weeds grow up, 4 feet around it.
Right.
And then it falls into here and plugs it all off. And then, what is that hole? Hole number 4 is par 3, I believe. So right there
Yeah.
on that par 3, there's that little weir, the concrete weir there. That'll be taken out, replaced, and bigger culverts put in. So the water, it'll be a foot lower.
Yes.
The water in that pond right now
Will be a foot.
will be a
low.
foot lower, so that increases the capacity also.
Right.
Wow,
And then if you go back to number 1, that concrete weir there that has the channel cut out of it,
Yeah.
that channel will be a foot deeper, and that'll lower that pond 1 foot.
Right.
So that's number 1 pond will go down a foot also. And it just increases the capacity of those 2 ponds.
That's great.
Just one other comment to make is one of the reasons for us sort of putting some pressure on getting this tender awarded and out there is because they intend to start the work immediately, so we can get that done prior to the winter season setting in and have the work completed prior to the golf course season opening again in the spring, so.
Beautiful.
That's why we jumped all over it today, because
Expeditious.
it couldn't have gone through council if we didn't understand what we were talking about,
Yeah,
so.
thanks for getting in there.
So with the funding piece of it, it says here that there's money left over in that other account from the ACRP that will cover this
Yep.
Yes,
from phase 1 to phase 2 portion of the golf course, not the Centennial.
yes, correct. So how the ACRP grant works is, there was up to, I believe it was $3 million, we got 90%, and then over 3 million, it was, I'm gonna say 70%.
Yeah.
So we've already committed those funds, and we used MSI grant to be our matching funds to that, so, really there's no tax dollars going into this, it's all grant funded.
No tax dollars going to that, okay?
No municipal.
Right, yep.
Yeah, they're all tax dollars.
Yep. But yeah, there's no municipal tax dollars being spent out there. But it's just an upgrade
So
with
it's,
the first phase.
yeah, and the
Okay,
grant office has approved the change in scope
Right.
for this.
okay.
Thanks, that's helpful.
Okay, if we could get a motion,
I'll make that motion.
Councillor Schlossberger. Question?
Moved by Councillor Schlossberger to accept the tender from Bosscapes Inc. in the amount of $401,611.98 plus GST for the golf course Frog Creek Drain Upgrades Project.
All in favor? Carried. Request for decision community advertising program policy, Marion.
So just a quick change, this policy was adopted back in July, but one of the things that we've noted since the policy, and I apologize if we overlooked this to begin with, is the eligibility for the program says that it has to be a business within 10 kilometers, but then we said they had to have a town business license. So we're amending the policy to say they either have to have a town license, an MD license, or an Alberta Southwest license, which is our regional alliance, and still meet that 10-kilometer setback. But so we're just proposing that you adopt that amendment to the policy.
I'll make that motion.
Councillor Schultz. Question?
Moved by Councillor Schultz to adopt policy number CEDC 1018, the Community Advertising Program Policy, effective October 22nd, 2018.
All in favor? Carried. Information brief. Handicap accessibility at the Claresholm Marina. Marion.
So just making you aware, at the reopening of the arena, one of the comments that was made by, I believe it was Councillor Zimmer, was a question about handicap accessibility doors at the ice rink. And so we looked into that. We do have money in our building maintenance accounts in our budget to be able to manage that, but we did get a quote from Stanley Access Technologies, so we have gone ahead with getting that work done, and the price on that was $5,318, but that'll get us both doors, the exterior doors as well as the interior, so.
On just one side?
Both in and out.
One side.
One
It's
side.
just one
The
side.
main
Okay.
set,
Just
not the
one.
second set.
Two doors, one side.
Right.
In and out.
That'll help the kids with their hockey picks too.
I'm sure it will.
It'll get worn
They're
out.
heavy doors. They're heavy doors.
Makes
And they send that one sticks.
Yeah.
But that'll be fixed also.
Good.
Just a question, did anybody check with Stavely to see where they got their funding from?
Yes, I did, and Stavely has not accessed dollars. What I was told is that their Ag Society and some others have possibly applied for grants, but they weren't, it wasn't anything to do with the town.
Oh, it's worth looking into.
Their Ag Society runs their arena,
Right.
right? So it could have been done through the Ag Society, but it wasn't the town.
Okay, and that's just taken for information, because it's within our budget.
Perfect. I'm glad to see it's getting done.
Yeah.
Nice work, Councillor Zimmer.
Well, Dale
Had some help.
Holder was right there, couldn't he?
Dale Holler
Yeah.
was standing at the door staring at me like, hello.
Hank, can you open the door?
So then he got after Craig, and then when he got inside, he got after me, and Mary
Is
was
that during the
right
grand
there.
opening?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Information brief, planning for growth project, Marion?
So WSP is nearing the end of the first draft for council's consideration of the area structure plan for the industrial area. Based on the open house and landowner discussions that we had, they have made some alterations to one of the storm pond locations, as well as allocation of some of the green space within there. We did do an amendment for a scope change, if you remember, to do some additional work there. As we have got further into this process, realized that there's going to be significant infrastructure upgrades required on Fifth Street for water and sewer. So what we've talked about administratively is for them to look at a way that we could stage the development of that land without having to put the upfront investment of the entire upgrade for Fifth Street. That's a long distance and, you know, it costs $2.some million to do that upgrade. So there is still money in the grant, and so what we've asked them to do is a further scope change on this project with WSP to look at preparing basically preliminary design work for upgrades, and to identify where there could be some connection points into the existing system, so we could build from the south moving north and be able to accommodate some development prior to having to upgrade the entire system of Fifth Street. So we're moving forward with that, and we anticipate we will have the first draft here for council's consideration at the November 13th council meeting.
Like it talks about phase one, exactly where would phase one, would it take in from 520 south? That'd be phase one?
I don't know at this point.
Oh,
That's
we'll
what
wait.
we're asking them to
Yeah.
look at, is what would be,
'Cause this is,
what would be the,
Yeah, that's my question.
right, that's what I was, yeah.
Oh, we'll just
yeah,
wait and see.
what we're asking them to look at is what would be, make sense from a design standpoint, and would have the capacity to be able to develop the land in phases.
Okay. So this is just
Thank you.
information for now.
Yes.
Information brief, CAO report. Any questions? We need a motion to accept your report? No? Good. Move on to council resolution status, that's information.
Maybe for Councillor Cutler's benefit, just maybe a quick explanation of what this is.
Sure.
So as every resolution or motion is approved by council, we put it into this at the end of the meeting. And then we just update council at every meeting as to the progress on the direction that council has given. So
Okay,
that's what this report is about.
gotcha,
Any motion of council is tracked through this report.
okay.
Next one, adoption of information items. And that's these,
Okay, okay.
and we will need a motion for that.
I move that we adopt the information items.
Councillor Moore, any questions in there? Question, please.
Moved by Councillor Moore to accept the information items as presented.
All in favor?
Harmony.
Carried. Okay, motion to go in camera.
Meeting.
I'll make that motion.
All in favor? Okay, we are in camera and we will take a 10-minute recess.
Great. Yay.
Okay, if I could have a motion to come out of in camera.
I'll make a motion to come out of in camera.
All in favor of coming out of in camera? Carried. And a motion to adjourn by Councillor Carlson is accepted. We are adjourned.
Thanks, Carol Burnett.
Congratulations.
Is that
on
why
your
you're
first
rolling
time.
your hand?